Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot. Now this is a hark back to last year when I last did these Western and Chinese zodiac combinations. I just woke up this morning thinking that I wanted to do it. I know this is a reading that one of my viewers was hoping I was going to do, so here you go, you know who you are. But yeah, it's a general reading for those with Taurus in their chart. So sun, moon, rising. Maybe you're wanting to look at your Jupiter or your Venus. And if you don't know your positions of any of those, especially your rising sign, as ever, there is a link in the description down below where you can go get yourself a free online birth chart. In fact, there's two links. Now, normally I'm trying to keep my waffle quick nowadays, but it's a long shuffle video this time. So that will be appearing, yep, up here. And keep your eye on it. You'll notice a few things happen in it. But yes, as a general reading rules apply. This is looking at summer, possibly the year. There's quite a lot going on in it, so possibly the year, because I don't think I'm going to be doing more than one of these a year, I don't think, on past experience. But roles can be reversed if someone else appears in your reading. Doesn't look like there's anybody else appearing in your reading, I can tell you that straight off. But that's not what my readings are about either. So this is not necessarily going to be a love reading, although it does pop its head up on one card. I would normally say in my readings, ask a question beforehand. So you could do on this one. It's not really that sort of reading. It's more of a have a feel of the energies that are coming over the next 12 months type of reading. But if you want to ask a question beforehand, there's no reason why you shouldn't. So take a moment, pause the video, think about all the questions that are around you, focus on one of them and be aware of all of them. Cards will answer what they want. Timing's not absolute. Well, I'm not even sure when this reading is quite for. But as I say, for Taurus in your chart, born in the year of the dragon. Oh, I can look that up. So let me just check that. So obviously that's looking at the Chinese New Year onwards. So is it new moon in Aquarius onwards in each year? And for the dragon, if you are born in 1952, 64, 76, 88, 2000 and 2012, but then again, if you're born in 2012, what are you doing watching this? This go and watch something far more interesting for you. So yeah, that's the end of my waffle, and I'm assuming that my, oh no, it's not. There is a link down below for the Facebook page for this channel, where I post these videos, obviously, and all the astrology weather report type videos that I watch on YouTube. So I gather it all together for your consumption. It's also got an inbox. So if you want to approach me for a personal reading, that's the main way to do it. There's a link tree link down there as well, which will lead you to my email or my Twitter or, you know, all of the social media nonsense that we put up with nowadays. Yeah, now that is all the end of my waffle. So let me see, 3.5 minutes. I'm sure my shuffle video, well, I'll accelerate it. It couldn't finish by now. Let's dive straight into this Taurus Dragon. So if I change to the cards, now this is a reading where I will be using my trusty pile of books, because you'll notice as I check for the oracle cards, I use another tarot card as a bookmark just to have a look up. And because some of these decks of cards, I haven't used in a while, and they seem to be quite happy that I use them. But one thing that I want to draw your attention to is the first thing that grabbed me was Pomona here as the goddess who is taking an interest in you, Taurus Dragon. So that's the way I would put it, taking an interest in you. And Pomona is a nymph, Roman goddess of plenty, always careful to cultivate her garden. This is what she loved. This is what she She was always working in pruning. She rejected all suitors because she thought a suitor would get between her and her garden, until another god who was actually into gardening turned up and actually revealed himself to her. And after finding out that she didn't want to be taken away from her garden, and so he's like, hey, I'll move in. It's happier than that, but now that I've just said that, I've realised, yeah, there could be better ways of that happening. But the one thing that I am seeing here is resources are important this year, but not in the way that you may think. I don't want you to have a scarcity thing going on. There's no scarcity. There's a rejection of loss here with a reversed Five of Cups. There's no scarcity here. It's managing resources, and it's managing resources for yourself and others. It is a balancing act for yourself to be doing this. But I rather feel that you are being thrust into a role where, don't want to say that you're in charge. That's not the right thing to say. But like, you're in charge of the house, or you're in charge of the budget, or you're in charge of the shopping, or you're in charge of the ensuring everybody has everything that they need. And that you are providing this further towards the world in a creative sense. You have a block to overcome first. We start with card number 32 from the House Wisdom of the House of Night Oracle, all about self-worth. Now this got clarified with Six of Pentacles, value, which I thought was really interesting, because their value is very much apparent here. It's seeing the value in yourself in a creative endeavor that you are wanting to embark on, a creative endeavor that provides things for people. You know, I don't want to get more specific than that. But somewhere along this path, you are providing for people, whether that's providing a service, whether it's opening a shop and taking money for it, or whether it's just shoveling food into people's mouths. You know, whatever way that you look at it, you could be giving this away for free, you could be giving this away for a tariff. It doesn't matter, because the tariff is not exorbitant, not ridiculous, that we've got here. But this is the first blockage. Basically, self-worth, the card speaks for itself. Do you think you're worthy of this? Do you think you're capable of this? Do you think that other people are seeing the value in you? And do you honestly believe that that matters to a hill of beans to what you are wanting to do and how you are wanting to progress forward? Because with that self-worth card, as I said, clarified by the Six of Pentacles, I suppose I'll read the little bit out. Self-worth, do you believe in yourself, or do you behave in a way that tells others you are not worthy? All my children act with self-respect, no matter the circumstances they come from. Self-worth and self-esteem means you will not allow yourself to be led into compromising situations. Now, that's an interesting thing, because the Archontic mask, the Archons are those energetic beings out of Gnosticism that are sort of astral reptilian mechanoids, and they are like a byproduct of Yaldabaoth creating the environment on the earth, because he arrived on earth, so earth was already here, but him creating his dominion here. And they are literally like a bit dropped off, a byproduct. And they, under Gnostic thought, permeate every aspect of our civilization. but they feed off your pain, your fear, your misery, all those negative vibe stuff. You know the plot, you know, whether you want to say negative entity or astral parasite, or, you know, take it even further than that, which we're not going to do here. But you know what they are, you know what I mean. And the mask that they are wearing is war, Aries, conflict. Now, there is debate coming up, but towards the end of this reading, there is a rejection of conflict. It's like, okay, we'll enter into this debate, and I am now armed to enter into this debate. Spam. You know, it's I know my facts, I know my figures, I've got my resources, because this is all everything. Like I say, it's all about resources here. So obviously, to do that, you need a little bit of self-confidence. So if you're questioning a new path that has been, it doesn't have to be new. You know, you might have been thinking about it for years. But a project or a path that you're considering it, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not right for it. Nah, if that's what you've been feeling like you want to do, and if that feeling, especially if it's been there for a while, you are being urged to do it. From the Making Magic deck, and yes, I know these are supposedly spell cards, but I use them for divination, we have the triple spiral. Listening to divine wisdom and joyfully learning life's lessons. Now, I think it's been a case of you've had the life lessons, now's the time to put them into action, because you are building. Nine of Beetles here. Yeah, it's the Nine of Pentacles. You're alone in your garden, just like Pomona, but you are building. That's the first thing that jumped out at me when I saw this, thinking about these 9 beetles scurrying along, doing their beetle business on their beetle days, and building. Bear in mind, they're not quite scarabs, but the beetle was a sacred to the ancient Egyptians, so I really like that beetle imagery. I like the way that they are so industrious and will survive practically anything. You know, so there's that wonderful sense of doing something on your own and bringing it into a sense of authority, grounding it. We've got King of Beetles here, where Ace of Cups, clarifying that. It's almost like you start trying to achieve lots of things and you are narrowing them down as you find out how you can balance what you are wanting to do, what is of value to you and of value to others. And yes, although the self-worth value of others don't mean hill of beans, like I said, but what you are doing, other people being aware and able to understand that value is an important thing. Now, you can tie that into your self-worth very, very easily if you wanted to. Don't do that. But it's, you were going to be setting out your barrow to show that what you have to offer has value. And that's very much, we've got Ace of Moths here, which is Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands on the bottom of the clarification decks. And I really want to get into the I Ching, because after all, it's supposed to be a part Chinese astrology reading. So we have got the, where can I put this? I know, I'll put it there. We have got the first hexagram. Now, you'll notice what I was saying about look at the shuffle video. Oh, sorry, up that way. Look at the shuffle video at the start. Hexagram 50 fell out. And I just bunged it back into the deck. But it nagged at me that I did that, because I knew it wasn't the card, but I wanted it. So we have hexagram number 1, which is 6 dragons flying through the air. Now, oodles of books here. So I love the I Ching. Here it's called the creative Chien. Heaven above, heaven below. Heaven is the sky, or is above and below us day and night surround the planet. Heaven is also the presence of the divine, which is above, below, all around, blah, blah, blah. Both time and eternity influence humanity through the creative power of heaven. Sublime success is assured through creative perseverance. And with this, clarified by the Two of Cups, there is a definite message that I would say has already come through to you. You know, you've got this idea of what you would like to do, what you want to do. Now is the time. This year is the time. Which I think there was waffling on about that it was talking about that obviously in a lot of the new moon in Aries readings, because now is the time astrologically. Absolutely, now's the time to be starting things. But also it's the first year of the Great Conjunction cycle. So now is also the time on a longer term scale. So on that level, here we have it clarified by the Fool, new beginnings. I did laugh when I saw that. So it's an auspicious situation. A worthy goal is attained through the correct deployment of moral and spiritual energies. Continue with your intentions, as you will succeed, because you have the energy, the desire, and the resolve to do so, as long as you don't let that self-worth thing trip up. Because while saying with that Eight of Cups, start wide and you narrow your focus. And do not blame yourself for dropping things as that focus narrows, because as that focus narrows, it's not that you're doing less, it's that you're specializing. You're going further on these few things that you are keeping doing. Beware of failure being snatched from the jaws of victory, though, because of overconfidence or trying to force the issue. Well, if you're struggling with your self-worth, overconfidence is not going to be an issue, is it? But again, with that, indicating with that balance, this Two of Pentacles here, certainly solitude and company, because this is something you are doing on your own. And the challenge is that you have to put the work in. We have Nibirius with Seven of Pentacles here. Now, Nibirius takes honor and dignity from others and restores lost honors and dignities. Now, that takes honor and dignity from others, that's a double-edged phrase. Yeah, it can make somebody else look like an idiot and have them lose everything. There's sort of a Jimmy Savile situation where is stripped of the MBE or OBE or whatever BE you happen to have, but takes honor and dignity from others. I first read that as receiving honor and dignity from others, i.e. someone else pointing out, you've done all this, therefore you deserve this. Which with the Seven of Pentacles, obviously it is putting the work in for the harvest. You have to tend that harvest. And it may well be a balancing act between the self-worth and the overconfidence, so just do it. Don't try too hard to sell it. Just do it. If you build it, they will come, so to speak, and that's the phrase that I very, very much get, because what you are doing, whatever this is quite revolutionary. So in whatever field you're working with, how you are doing it is new. And I know this because William Blake from the Saints and Mystics, which I'll get onto him more in a moment, but from the Dere Ching, I pulled verse number 57, to govern the nation. So I'll just read this one out now, because this is very much setting the tone of that whole sense of resources that I was feeling. Govern the nation with correctness, resort to arms with surprise maneuvers, obtain the land under heaven without tiring out the people. How do I know this? Because the more rules there are in a country, the poorer the people will become. The more power the people hold, the more confused the country will become. The more skills and intelligence the people possess, the more valuable goods will be created, and the more strict the laws will become, yet more thieves and robbers will breed. That is why the sage says, I do nothing and the people are nurtured by themselves. I do not tire people and drain the treasury, and the people come rich by themselves. I prefer quietness, and the people behave correctly by themselves. I have no desire, and the people return to the simple life by themselves. I have no emotions, and the people become pure by themselves. So, this thing that you're creating, this service that you're doing, there's an element there, sort of separate it from your self-worth, one way or the other. And you may well be receiving honours for it, but again, this is a challenge. Those honours, just as people's criticisms and low opinions weren't worth a hill of beans, neither really are these honours. They will make life easier, which is not a bad thing, but, it's like someone offers you this reward or title or letters after your name, and your first reaction is, nah, because... Okay, fine. Yeah, if that's what you want to pass my way, great. But I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing, and I'm doing it for the right reasons, and I'm doing it because God told me to. Don't mention the God told you to bit. People act a bit weird with that. But there's such a creative force here. A creative force of your own. First hexagram, Ace of Wands, Ace of Moths. There was another one. Where is it? Yesod. Yesod is very much, it's the link between the upper bits of the tree of life and the real world. It's showing that link between the divine and your actions as it's grounded down into the kingdom of Malkut. Into the real world. There is something that you have been forming, that you've been forming alone, Nine of Pentacles, Beetles, and Pomona alone in a garden, and to a great extent, these priestesses of Avalon, 9 of those, according to legend, as well, called the Morgans. But they were guardians of a gateway. In fact, let me read that one out. Now, that one got clarified by Four of Swords. This whole thing is a healing experience that starts on your own. Whatever you're doing here, these cards are saying, this new project, it's starting on your own. 9 of Pentacles, there, Four of Swords. And it's a healing thing. Probably talking about getting over that self-worth business. Now, the actual meaning of the card, I'm like, other than, it maybe relates to that self-worth bit, where it says, you may have forgotten not only who you are, but what you are capable of being, doing, having, and achieving for yourself in this lifetime. Break free from the confines both you and others have placed on you, and engage with the sacred, magical, and natural ways of otherworld. Blah, blah, blah. Reclaim your divine power by living intuitively from the core of your true self, and more hippie stuff. But that's very much what I'm seeing with this. I almost want to say that this initial questioning of your self-worth is not a bad thing, because you ask the questions in a new way, and because of that, you're getting new answers that are making you go, okay. And yeah, other people can be bringing you honours later along in this process. It doesn't matter. It's like, I am doing this because I enjoy it. I am doing this because I believe in it, but do expect the focus of what you're doing to narrow as the year progresses. Because to start off with, we've got the Empress card here with Seven of Wands. So I feel like there's some form of resource that initially you are called to protect. And there may well be someone that you've had... have I finished with this? Yeah, I think so. That you may be called to protect, because I also feel that there's either recently or in the early part of this year, there is an argument with somebody who is close. One, we've got that Aries here again. So it's people falling into combative traps, but there's a rejection of that later on. That it's almost like maybe someone said something rather quite nasty and harsh to you and made you go away, crumble a little bit, and then start building yourself back up again. And not in the way of, right, I'll show them, but in a way of, right, I'll show me what I am capable of. Because we have the Queen of Roses here from the Akashic Tarot. Who we got? Celia with motivation. So that you have got the reasons to commence on this. Once you commence on it, Eight of Wands, Eight of Wands. And on the bottom of this deck, we have the Sun card. The Sun followed by the Emperor. So, you know, you couldn't get much better of, you are defining a new role for yourself where you are working on your own to start off with. You've spread these resources out. You are giving these resources to the world, whether it's through trade or pro bono, whatever. And people initially are probably thinking, what the hell's he doing? What are they doing? And then a couple of months later going, I'm so glad you started this. You're really good at this. I'm really impressed. Can I have some? Maybe even, can I have some? I'll pay for it. You know, whatever. Because as much as it would be lovely to live in a world without money, we don't. So, you know, there's no harm in that creeping in. But this Queen of Roses, again, this was clarified by the Hanged Man, indicating that this disagreement is going to take some time. And what I was pulled to in the description of it, I don't use these cards often enough to know them off by heart. So sometimes I do. This card upright sometimes shows a happy resolution to a difficulty with a family, a friend, or a love relationship. The time for peaceful, loving connections is at hand, so open your heart to the expression of caring within and around you. And what I'm seeing with that, in fact, I'll put that Hanged Man there. What I'm seeing with that is that here at the start, there is some motivating event where maybe people are not operating at their best. Not you, not them. That gets sorted. But that gets sorted by you wandering away. I'm sure they're doing their own work. Okay, I can only see your story. I'm not saying that you are solving the whole issue yourself, because that's throwing everything on you and that's not fair. They need to do some work, but this is your reading, not theirs. But by you focusing on what you're doing, you get back into their good graces and they get back into your good graces, however way that goes. Basically, bit of a split up, bit of a break up, a few acrimonious words, bit of a crisis of confidence. Stuff it, I'll go do this then. About time that you went and did this. God's been telling you to do it. And then by the end of it, they're coming back and they're seeing, oh, you've done really well. You don't need your ships to come in. You're building your ships here and now. And the other reason that I was saying that is because of, where have I put that particular book? Right, I finished with the Mists of Avalon, so let's put that Four of Swords on there, and the value on the self-worth. What was I about to look for? Goldfish memory. Yeah, this was it. Number 50. Because number 50 is, again, about maintaining resources. In this book, I'm going to put number 50 down here. And it's clarified by Five of Wands again. So it's indicating that there is debate over this, potentially bit of conflict over resources. But wood feeds fire and keeps it alive. We have fire above and wood below. Without this nourishment, the fire would soon die out. In the same way, people need spiritual sustenance to keep the fire of the human spirit alive. Ooh, there's a bit of a different twist. The cauldron is a holy vessel into which one places his or her life as an offering to the divine. Such devotion leads to supreme good fortunes. All good things proceed from this sacrifice. So, there's an element of maintaining resources, feeding the fire, feeding the people. But, you know what I was saying about that, stuff it, I'll go do this then. It's not even stuff it, I'll go do this then. It's stuff it, I'll go and do what God's telling me to do. And you are handing that destiny over to the divine, however you may interpret it, which is supremely blessed, as long as, Two of Cups, I'll draw your attention to again, as long as you are using your creativity, whatever that means. Now, I have no idea that in part of this you may be forced to use your creativity. But the interesting thing is with 1 to 50 or 50 to 1, there's two changing lines. Now, this little book, I love this book, talks of the changing lines as well. So firstly, to sum up that first hexagram, 6 dragons ride forth and nourish the earth. Clouds burst asunder and bring rain. Can't talk. What is willed shall be, as he walks upon the righteous path, and the world reshapes itself around the power of his word. Remember what I was saying here on the bottom of the deck? The sun followed by the emperor. You are building your own kingdom here, one that is well established, king of beetles, that has the resources behind it, Empress, even if you are finding that there is challenge with your peers, 7 of Wands, in commencing this, but that it's not just challenge from your peers, it's challenge from you, unless you get to that point of, stuff it, I'll go and do what God tells me to do then. Understand the nature of creation, acting with boldness and without hesitation, action is favoured. As we know, new moon in Aries, okay, things are starting to wander into Taurus, but it's a really great time. First year of the Great Conjunction year. First, just coming off the back of the new moon in Aries. And of course, everything after it leaves Aries, it comes into your sign. But it's coming into your sign really fired up. So this, I believe what you're going to be doing is sort of an idea that's been around for quite some time. So it appeals to that definition of the fixed energy, but all that Aries energy coming in is saying, right, start doing it then. You've fixed the idea of it in your mind, start putting it in the real world. So with the two changing lines, so it's the 1st and the 5th. Now here's this point of solitude that is defining the start of these efforts. The hidden dragon, from the first line being a changing line. The wise man conceals his light and retreats to the mountain to turn his thoughts inward. He is content with the practice of perfecting himself. Remember what I was saying, that self-worth thing. He does this because he must learn to master himself before he would think to master others. But then we have the 5th line, which really promises a great change. The changing 5th line is called the Soaring Dragon. He leaves behind those who dwell on land and seeks out his own kind. It is advised to take counsel from a wise elder. That's the only mention of an elder here, unless that's been represented by the inspiration of William Blake. And to leave behind those who do not support our goals. After arrival, we look up to see that those who also have wings will have followed. And this was clarified by the 7 of Swords. So there's an element of strategy and getting rid of the nonsense. That Seven of Swords here puts it in a line with this Eight of Cups, where I was saying you that the narrowing of focus, getting rid of the nonsense. Now let's have a look what it says for 50 in here. I didn't look that one up. Using the changing lines again. I want to focus on the 5th changing line, which is called the Golden Cauldron, because the first one's not great, but it shows that initial disagreement with whatever you're sorting out later. Because it's talking about the cauldron falling over and the meat getting spoiled, and it's just a bit of a disaster, really. But at the end of it, we have our past mishaps have been resolved to the point where everything is in better standing than previously. It is time to be persistent yet civilized. Now, that persistent yet civilized is what have I just knocked over? Is exactly what I'm seeing here with this 5 of Wands, 5 of Swords reversed. There's a message that you will be taking out to the world eventually. There's no hurry. This is a young Page of Swords here. Well, I mean, the Page of Swords is young. Sorry, that's how I should say it. The Page of Swords is young. They might be fast. They're very digitally aware. So this is something that you can have a wider effect with by putting it on the internet, basically. But when you are... This row that comes up, we have the Angel of Forgiveness. I choose to forgive all those who have hurt me in the past. Beautiful, easier said than done. But there is an element of forgiveness, and that forgiveness is two-way when we see that Queen of Roses. And the whole reason, this is not the reason why this person, whoever it is, fell out with you in the first place. I want to point this out. They've got no knowledge of this. But, you know, the spirit puppeteers, as they're pulling the strings, the whole reason for you to have had this disagreement is to throw you into this course of action where all of a sudden you are excelling and you are really cooking on gas. It's to give you, as it says here, motivation. Right, this card came up as well. Propagation of light. Yes, you are sending this. So all of these came out. So Celia with motivation, we've covered that. Airathel, propagation of light, sending that message across. Chaya with patience, this will take time. There is slow. I mean, beetles are great, they're industrious, they're slow. Nelchael, desire for knowledge. When you are whittling down, you discover that you haven't lost anything by the whittling down. If anything, you have gained. You are balancing those two forces that you were called to balance to start this creative process in the first place. And then finally, this is beautiful. I haven't seen this. Lauya with victory. So it's going to be a hard slog for you this year, Taurus Dragon. But it's going to be fun. I get the distinct impression of you enjoying it. You're giving up on something, but there's no misery with this Eight of Cups. It's more a sense of, yep, right, now I'm going off over here because I've put that stuff aside. And I haven't actually lost anything. And whatever the row is, it sorts itself out. But you have the resources and you have to go through this healing period. So have a final look at William Blake, who got clarified by the Eight of Wands. So it's possible that this creative urge comes and sweeps you off your feet. But like I say, even if it comes and sweeps you off the feet, it's something you know. It's something that you recognize. It's something that you've been hearing the whisper of maybe for years in the back of your mind, as God was saying, what about you doing this? Have you ever thought about doing this? You know, there's... So This whole event is being designed to cause you to question what your place is. Again, that will bring those self-worth issues up. And then create a place for yourself with whatever this new project is. But like I say, there is a real sense of managing resources that are for you and others. That's I just want to say they are for others as well. So Blake's energy challenges us to question our world and work, guiding us to lift our game and to explore, I hadn't read this either, and explore greater depths of reality and our place in the creative collective. So I feel that there was definitely that sense of creativity going along through all of this. Excuse the sun reflecting. But somehow along the way, you are serving other people. So you are being creative. You might be being artistic and what have you. But what you are doing creates a resource for other creative people or forces. So it's like maybe you're trying to print something and you learn to print it in a certain way and you get to reveal the methodology of that printing to the world, and other artists are going, oh, I could print things like that as well, and I could do it this way. So this is your thing, but it's your thing that's there for everybody. What else has William Blake got to say? Anything? Throat, third eye and crown chakras, when activated together, clear the channel for creativity and artistry. I think that's everything I want to pull out of that one. There is a wonderful sense of you are support, even though you're having this lonely time, this working on your own, you are supported. Pomona got clarified by Three of Cups here. But I love this. From the I Ching book, we got that Fool card for this new creative process. This is a whole new time of life for you. It starts in a way that's probably a little bit sort of, because, you're having a row with someone whose opinion means something to you. Oh, well, don't worry about it. It will sort, as we can see here, it will sort. There's a reason for it. I don't think is there anything that I have missed? There's no cards. So no, there you go. And I've been talking, 40 minutes. I'll shut up now. So please, if you're still here, press the like button and subscribe to the channel. Both help greatly. Like helps the video and subscribe really helps my channel. I've not hit my 1,000 yet. So thank you very much to all those who have subscribed already. You know who you are. There's that's it. Come and have a look for new readings soon. Cheers.